I had just transformed back into a willow tree for 3 minutes when a monkey suddenly leaped out of the nearby stone. It not only dragged me to become sworn siblings with it, but also asked me to give it a name. I immediately waved a branch and readily agreed. Then you shall be called Sun Wukong. As soon as these words were spoken, the patriarch Bodhi thousands of miles away exploded in anger. Damn willow tree, actually stealing my lines. It all started because I awakened the infinite system of courting death. By continuously altering the trajectory of the journey to the Westworld, I could obtain numerous rich rewards. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully angering the quasi-saint Bodhi patriarch. Rewarded with one original source pill. Listening to the system's voice, my smile became even brighter. With the mischievous Monkey King Sun Wukong by my side, causing trouble was as easy as pie. Soon enough, I successfully cultivated into human form. At this moment in Flower Fruit Mountain, a monkey was dragging a little child wearing a short shirt made of leaves, crying loudly, Big brother, I, Sun Wukong, really don't want to see everyone go through the cycle of life and death. Will you accompany me to learn the art of immortality overseas? Upon hearing this, I immediately felt invigorated. There was nothing more joyful than going out to cause some trouble. 3 months later, the man and the monkey finally set foot on a fairy mountain. Just as they reached the mountainside, they heard a clear singing voice, climbing cliffs, wielding axes to cut through withered vines. Where we meet, it's either immortal or the Tao, sitting quietly discussing the yellow court. It turned out to be a woodcutter chopping wood. Sun Wukong was overjoyed and jumped up. Old immortal, you are too kind. The woodcutter was suddenly frightened. I'm just a woodcutter. How dare I be called an old immortal? I stood by with folded arms, watching coldly from the side. Just pretend. If you're not the patriarch Bodhi, I'll wash my hair upside down. Seeing that Sun Wukong, this foolish little brother, had already revealed his intention to seek immortality, the woodcutter nodded. Seeing your single-minded pursuit of the path to immortality, I will show you a clear way. Head south for hundreds of miles from here, and you will find a fairy mountain called Mount Fangsuan, where an old immortal named Patriarch Bodhi resides. Before he could finish speaking, I interrupted him. Bro, don't you find it strange? This mountain is so steep. Why would this old man insist on coming here to chop wood? And how does he know so much about it? It's probably some kind of demon or monster in disguise. I say we just kill him. Upon hearing these words, Patriarch Bodhi was completely baffled. Not again. Why is it this nuisance? If it weren't for the monkey still nearby, he would have killed this little tree spirit right away. Leave now if you know what's good for you, or else you won't escape death. Bodhi Patriarch said to me with a serious expression. Oh, you dare to threaten me? I'm so scared. I sneered and directly wielded the Fushichin, smashing it towards the Patriarch Bodhi. With a loud bang, a huge wound suddenly appeared on Patriarch Bodhi's head. He covered his head and took a few steps back, looking incredulous. Was this the power that a postnatal creature should possess? At the same time, 33 days away, Nua's face suddenly changed, and she stared fixedly in the direction of Zinio. Isn't this the divine weapon of my elder brother Fushi? How could it appear at this moment? Could it be related to the willow tree spirit and my brother? At this moment, Patriarch Bodhi was already consumed by rage, raising his hand to strike me down. Suddenly, Patriarch Bodhi's mind shook, and he heard the voice of the sage of guiding echoing in his ears. Leave quickly and do not disrupt the great journey to the west of Buddhism. In the end, he could only glare at me angrily before mounting a cloud and departing. Upon seeing the situation, a smile spread across my face. Just as I had just summoned the Fushichin, I quietly used the life-saving skill given by the system, watching a nearly peak saint-level powerhouse being beaten up by me and leaving in utter frustration. The feeling was simply too satisfying. By the way, there is a reward. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully beating up Patriarch Bodhi and obtaining the lower grade innate spirit root Dao fruit. At this moment, Sun Wukong finally came to his senses. Thanks to my wise big brother, I almost got deceived by that woodcutter. Sun Wukong now admired me even more. I waved my hand confidently. It's nothing, you're still young. Sun Wukong scratched his head. But big brother, I still want to go to Mount Fangsuan. We've been searching for months and haven't found any trace of the immortal. Even if it's a dangerous place, I still want to explore it. Upon hearing this, I pondered for a moment, then nodded. I will accompany you on another trip. After all, I am your big brother. I understood clearly that in the future, the Buddhist sect would definitely come up with more means to deal with Sun Wukong. Rather than passively taking hits, it's better to take the initiative and strike first. At this moment, inside the 3 Stars cave on Fangsuan Mountain, Patriarch Bodhi was rubbing his head with an unpleasant expression on his face. I saw Sun Wukong and I leisurely arrived in front of the mountain. Looking at the purple aura surrounding the mountains, countless auspicious spirit beasts were enveloped by a large array. Sun Wukong swallowed nervously. Elder brother. Elder brother. This must be the residence of immortals. It seems we've come to the right place. I shook my head with a stern expression. Younger brother. You are too naive. Have you seen that deadly formation? It seems those immortals do not welcome us. Since that's the case, let's leave. With that, I grabbed Sun Wukong and turned to walk away. This directly angered Patriarch Bodhi. That cursed tree demon is causing trouble again. He quickly got up in a hurry, not even putting on his shoes, and dashed out of the Taoist temple. Outside Fengsuan Mountain, Sun Wukong saw a Taoist with immortal grace and Taoist bones appear, instantly filled with excitement. However, the next moment, he saw the other person standing barefoot in the mud, with a strange expression on their face. Upon seeing this, Patriarch Bodhidharma swiftly waved his hand, causing the incredibly mysterious radiance above the 9 heavens to instantly disappear. At that moment, the stars shifted, and Sun Wukong was so excited that he immediately knelt down. I've come to pay my respects and learn from you. Please accept me as your disciple and teach me the secret of immortality, he said eagerly. The Patriarch Bodhi shook his head in a pretentious manner. You, monkey, what qualifications do you have to be my disciple? Go back to where you came from. After saying this, Grandmaster Bodhi gently patted Sun Wukong on the head 3 times, then turned around and left. After Ancestor Bodhi left, Sun Wukong scratched his head and said with a burst of annoyance, Big brother, are we too stupid to get into this old god's eyes? No. Lu Chongqing narrowed his eyes slightly and said, Older brother, don't worry, just wait. After saying this, Lu Chongqing directly sat down on a rock with his knees crossed and his eyes closed. Seeing this, Sun Wukong also held his anger and sat next to Lu Chongqing. In the middle of the night, the arcane moon was high in the sky, and the square-inch mountain was silent. Lu Chongqing directly got up and smiled blandly at Sun Wukong, then strutted towards Mount Fengtian. The Monkey King winced and followed close behind like a heel. After a few moments, the two of them, Sun Wukong and Lu Chongqing, arrived unimpeded in the 3-star Caves dojo. Ancestor Bodhi, who was faking sleep, opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his face as he muttered, This monkey has some enlightenment, and has the qualifications to become a disciple of this sage. Sun Wukong smiled awkwardly and rubbed his hands together. Old gods, you're mistaken. If it wasn't for my big brother's reminder, I, Lao Sun, wouldn't even know that you slapped me on the head 3 times to make me come to pay my respects at the 3rd hour of the night. Speaking of which, this chance was given to me by my big brother. Please ask the old gods to accept me and my big brother as disciples. Hearing this, Ancestor Bodhi looked at Sun Wukong with a face full of surprise and said with a firm face, Impossible. When Ancestor Bodhi saw Lu Chongqing, a hint of anger spread across his face. How can anyone take an enemy as a disciple? This is simply ridiculous. Waiting for that Lu Chongqing to wreak havoc on Fengchu Mountain and completely lead Sun Wukong astray? Lu Chongqing did not move and glanced at Ancestor Bodhi, having a countermeasure in mind. Right now was an unavoidable opportunity for death, so he couldn't miss it. Thinking about this, Lu Chongqing waved his hand and said, It seems that I as a big brother is not as good as my oldest brother after all, although we are in trouble together, like brothers, but big brother I can't delay my oldest brother's great future. Older brother, you can rest assured that you're here to seek immortality and ask for help. Big brother, I'd better go back to the mountain of flowers and fruits and be alone and languish. After saying this, Lu Chongqing turned around and walked outside without hesitation. Chapter 5, Stopping Worship. Kondong Divine Seal. Sun Wukong glanced at Grandmaster Bodhi and said somewhat angrily, Aren't the immortals compassionate? Since you won't accept my big brother as your disciple, then I won't worship the master either. Cultivating immortality is naturally good, but it's not as good as my brother and I's brother-in-arms. After saying this, Sun Wukong directly held his head high and walked outward in large strides. Ancestor Bodhi couldn't help but stare, his entire body dumbfounded. He had the urge to spit out blood. This was unconscionable. Buddha in order to plan the grand plan of the Western journey, but enough layout for countless years. See, the grand plan of the Western journey is about to step into the right track. I did not expect so much misery. Hasn't the Monkey King always longed for the way of immortality? Did he even give up the way of longevity for that so-called big brother? Beyond the 33 heavens, the world of ultimate bliss, Jain and Junti both looked at each other. Both could see the anger in each other's eyes. If they hadn't been grounded here by old man Hongjun, they would have hated to show up at Mount Fengsuan right now and decapitate the damned willow tree spirit. 3 times he went against the Buddhist sect and kept going to abet the Monkey King. That Sun Wukong is the protector that they 2 saints have gone to great lengths to find for the eastward propagation of Buddhism. Is it not something that willow tree spirit can abduct and run away from? However, the heart of the 2 saints was also full of doubts. The Buddhist sect's grand plan of traveling to the west was a top secret. Except for the saints and the bigwigs among the three worlds who knew about it, it was impossible for other people to know about it. It is even more unlikely to know that the Monkey King is the Buddha's appointed scripture taker. How did that willow tree spirit, whose strength was average, gain insight into the Buddhist sect's schemes? Could it be that someone is secretly instructing the willow tree spirit behind the scenes, so that he can deliberately sabotage the great plans of the Buddha sect? Just now, that willow tree spirit had used the Fushichin to angrily smash Ancestor Bodhi on a mountain peak just outside of the Square-Inch Mountain. So it seems likely that the willow spirit is related to Fushi or Nuwa. Nuwa is the holy mother of the human race, and Fushi is the emperor of the human race. And the great plan of the journey to the west to make Buddhism spread eastward is to make all the human beings in the 4 continents become Buddhist followers, so as to seize the human race's chi. So how can Nuwa and Fushi sit back and do nothing? Thinking of this, the face of the Commodore's face clouded over, and his heart was filled with murderous intent. Anyone who stands in the way of the Buddha's great plans will be killed without pardon. This is true even if the saints are working from it. Junti raised his hand, his palm like a sword, and then made a downward stroke, making the gesture of killing. You can't keep this willow spirit. Let's go ahead and behead this willow tree spirit. Just in case. Receiver narrowed his eyes slightly and said, Senior brother, you are getting carried away. There's no need to be like this. So what if that willow tree spirit is a pawn laid down by a saint? All that is sought is just chance. If the saints behind him were able to give him a chance, can't we in the Buddhist sect? Upon hearing this, Junti's eyes flickered as he said, Senior brother is saying that we will use the trick to get that willow tree spirit to return to our Buddha as well? Nice. A satisfied smile appeared on Reception's face. I can see that the great willow tree spirit has an extremely high status in the Monkey King's heart. If we take the willow tree spirit, then won't the Monkey King be at our mercy? Junti's heart jolted and he immediately reacted. Of all the sects in the 3 realms, only the Buddhist sect has first-rate means of buying people's hearts. Powerful people like Taoist Duo Bao, Kong Xian, and Taoist Lantern Burner all went to the west to become Buddhas. Not to mention that now it was just a mediocre willow tree spirit, so it was easy as pie to buy the other side. Yes, Junti laughed aloud and said, I'll send a message to Bodhi right now and tell him to act according to the plan. Square-Inch Mountain, 3-star cave. Ancestor Bodhi could not help but be shocked. No way. How is this possible? Just now, he received a voice transmission from Junti, telling him to agree to Sun Wukong's request and accept Sun Wukong and Willow Tree Spirit as his disciples. He couldn't figure out why the 2 saints of the Buddhist sect had allowed that Sun Wukong to run amok. Could it be that the Willow Tree Spirit was really from the Nuwa Palace? Because such an identity scares the second saint? Ancestor Bodhi meditated for a while, but he couldn't come up with an explanation. Although he was extremely reluctant to accept this enemy Willow Tree Spirit as a disciple, the orders of the second saint could not be disobeyed. He beckoned, and the boy beside him respectfully said, Master, may I ask what you want? Hurry up and go invite Sun Wukong and Lu Chongsheng back. Ancestor Bodhi took a deep breath and said, Yes, sir. Beyond the Square-Inch Mountains, Sun Wukong cursed, Just now that old Taoist priest even looked down on my big brother. It's outrageous. Big brother, let's go somewhere else to seek immortality. Lu Chongsheng glanced at Sun Wukong and said with a grave expression, Older brother, is seeking immortality and immortality really so important to CND? Sun Wukong nodded heavily and said with a serious face, Big brother, my life is not up to heaven. Only when both I, Lao Sun and Big brother become supreme immortals will we be able to get away with the world without any constraints. When Lu Changsheng heard this, a smile spread across his face, and his heart was touched for a moment. Sun Wukong's concern for him was overflowing without any pretense, and it seemed that this monkey was genuinely taking him as his big brother. Thinking about this, Lu Chongsheng said carelessly, Older brother, don't be in a hurry. We don't need to go elsewhere to seek immortality. It's better to wait here for a while. Within the next day, Mount Fangshu will send someone to pick us up, and by then that old Taoist priest will agree to our request. Big brother, how is this possible? Sun Wukong looked at Lu Chongsheng, his face full of doubts. We just left Fong Cun Mountain. That old Nubizi Taoist didn't have the slightest intention to stay. How could he send someone to pick us up? Lu Chongsheng smiled indifferently and said, Don't you still trust Big brother? Sun Wukong pondered for a moment and said, That's just it. Let's just rest nearby for a day and hope that it's as Big brother said. Soon, Lu Chongsheng and Sun Wukong found a place to land near Fangchun Mountain. Sun Wukong whined for a while before going straight to sleep. Lu Chongsheng shook his head, and began to meditate and cultivate. Ding! Congratulations to the host for preventing the Monkey King from worshipping his master, and obtaining a reward for the extremely high-quality innate spiritual treasure, the Kongdong Divine Seal. Just then, the system's voice suddenly rang out. Lu Changsheng casually made a move, and the Kongdong Divine Seal appeared in his palm. He looked at this supreme treasure with a surprised face. This Kongdong divine seal of golden light. The atmosphere of ancient. Above the 9 dragons surround each other. Above is the word Kongdong. Speaking of this Kongdong divine seal, it is the #1 treasure of the human race, and it is the place where the chi of the human way resides. If you hold this divine seal, you can abolish the human emperor. During the period of the quantum war of witch and demon, this seal was under the control of the 3 emperors and 5 emperors, and during the period of the sealing of the gods, this object was obtained by the Supreme Lord Laozi. At one time, Taishan Laozi used this object to suppress the human race's chi. Seeing the Kongdong divine seal, a supreme treasure, Lu Changqing couldn't help but plot. This is the most precious treasure of the human race, which can abolish the human emperor, and is even more capable of suppressing the human race's chi. Speaking of which, the Buddha's great plan of traveling to the west is to spread Buddhism to the east and to seek the great fortune of the human race. Now with the Kongdong divine seal in hand, it would be considered an additional means of targeting the Buddhist sect in the future. However, at the moment, the Kongdong divine seal was not very useful to him, so he would use it again when he had the opportunity later. He pondered for a moment before putting away the Kongdong divine seal. With a thought, he took out the great Dao Dao fruit from the system space. Chapter 6, Worshipping Bodhi and Not Forgetting the Good Elder Brother. This great Dao Dao fruit was a lower grade innate spiritual root, and there was no telling how much Lu Changqing's strength could be raised after refining this Dao fruit. Thinking so, Lu Changqing swallowed the great Dao Dao fruit without hesitation and began to refine it. As soon as he swallowed it, the Dao fruit immediately transformed into a most precise origin force that continuously traveled through the meridians. Lu Changqing's entire body emitted a golden light, and an arcane Dao rhythm filled the air. After a while, 3 small golden figures formed in his dantian, representing Lu Changqing's past, present, and future 3 lifetimes. These 3 little people slowly opened their eyes, and a light filled with the aura of Xian Huang filled the air. This abundant and domineering aura swept across, constantly refining his flesh. With each hammering, Lu Changqing felt that his fleshly body was sublimated and his whole body's aura skyrocketed. A few hours later, Lu Changqing opened his eyes filled with excitement. After refining this Dao fruit of the great Dao, he directly broke through from the mid-stage of refining gold and transforming chi to the great perfection of refining essence and transforming chi realm. This one was very rewarding. As long as he kept on cultivating diligently, it would be a matter of time before he became an immortal with the mythical Dao Lord Dharma Dao collection. At that time, it would be possible to make the 3 bodies of the past, present and future united, and he, Lu Changqing, would not exist in the past and future, and the one life would be eternal. Even if one's physical body was destroyed, one could be reborn with only a trace of true spirit present, being able to enter the space-time years, traveling through the ages, and achieving the supreme Dharma. It can even be independent of the world, immortal. This was the terror of the mythical Dao Lord Law, which was capable of jumping out of the 3 realms as long as it was cultivated. This is the true transcendence between heaven and earth, completely controlling one's own destiny. Seeking immortality as obsessively as Sun Wukong did was only a minor path. The 3 small golden figures in Lu Changqing's mud pill palace actually represented the god in his essence, which could also be said to be the core of the great Dao. When these 3 little people's Dao rhythms were complete, he would naturally be able to break through to the next realm, refining God and returning void. To know that Dao rhythm perfection was a trait only possessed by the great Luo golden immortals in the entire flood. This was enough to illustrate the terror of this mythical Dao Lord Law. In the flood, all the cultivation techniques combined were not as powerful as 1 or 2 of the mythical Dao Lord laws. Thinking about this, Lu Changqing's mind could not help but move, directly evolving the Willow Tree Dharma. On top of this willow tree, there were endless Dao rhythmic laws permeating and glittering, and the leaves were like stars. With Lu Changqing's current strength, he was even more powerful than the so-called heavenly immortals in the flood. Coupled with the many magic treasures and powerful techniques, at least in the flood plains can do to protect themselves. Soon after Lu Changqing ended his cultivation, the sky had already seen the light, and Sun Wukong woke up leisurely. After seeing Lu Changqing, the whole person looked like he had seen a ghost. Why is it that after a night's absence, Big Brother feels like a different person? The whole person has become different. Could it be an illusion? However, Sun Wukong didn't think much about it. It was still business. Sun Wukong laughed and snickered. Big Brother, I didn't think that you also have the time to look away. I knew that the old Taoist priest of Fangchu Mountain was not so kind. Big Brother, let's go. It's better to go somewhere else to seek immortality. Just then, a footstep came, only to see a young man with a thin figure, a clear face, and a Taoist robe walking this way. After that Taoist boy saw Sun Wukong and Lu Changqing, he immediately showed a joyful face and said, "Two of you, finally I found you. The old ancestor has orders to invite you back to Feng Siyuan Mountain. Sun Wukong's eyes were wide with disbelief. This isn't it. I can't believe Big Brother actually said it. That Taoist child looked at Sun Wukong in surprise. Could it be that this monkey was excited because he was able to worship the old ancestor? Lu Chongqing smiled blandly and said, "Let's go then. It's rare that the old goddess has figured it out this time. So naturally it's not good for us to refute the face." Lu Chongqing nodded and went with Lu Chongqing to Fengsuan Mountain. Square Inch Mountain. 3-star cave. The Taoist boy knelt on the ground and said with incomparable respect, "Elder ancestor, according to your orders, the two have been brought back. Go down." Ancestor Bodhi waved his hand and said. Hearing this, the Taoist boy got up and left. Ancestor Bodhi narrowed his eyes slightly as he looked at Lu Chongqing and Sun Wukong and said, "Meeting is a kind of fate, and after thinking about it for a while, it's something that I should give Lu Chongqing a chance. That's just it. This time this seat will make an exception and accept the two of you as disciples." Sun Wukong knelt on the ground with a smile on his face and said, "Many thanks, old ancestor." After Sun Wukong paid his respects, he turned his head to look at Lu Chongqing. Only Lu Chongqing stood there straight, without the slightest thought of worshipping his master. Sun Wukong couldn't help but frown and asked, "Big brother, why don't you worship the master?" Lu Chongqing laughed and said, "I don't want to worship the master." The reason why he stopped Sun Wukong from worshipping his master yesterday was just that he wanted to get a system reward. Now that the purpose had been achieved, there was no need to stop the Monkey King from worshipping the master. Now that he possessed multiple supreme treasures, the mythical Tao Lord Law, and was not lacking in anything, as well as having the system on his side, his strength would definitely far exceed that of Ancestor Bodhi in the future. A small paraclete was just a paraclete. How could he be his Lu Chongqing's master? Ancestor Bodhi's face immediately darkened, and he said in a deep voice, "You guys don't know what's good for you. If you're given a chance and don't take it, this old ancestor is still not happy to accept you as a disciple." He was even sneering within his heart. This guy violently beat him yesterday and tried to abduct the Buddha's internal sutra fetcher. If it wasn't because of the account of the two saints of the Buddha sect, how could he, Ancestor Bodhi, have held back from accepting his enemy as his disciple? This guy's refusal to worship was exactly what he was begging for. In the future, even if the two saints of the Buddha sect asked about this matter, it would have nothing to do with him. "Take them to the side hall to rest, and bring Sun Wukong to me at noon tomorrow," Ancestor Bodhi said. The Taoist boy nodded and led both Sun Wukong and Lu Chongqing to the side hall. Noon on the second day. After Sun Wukong bid farewell to Lu Chongqing, he went to the 3-star cave alone. After a few moments, the Monkey King arrived at the Great Hall. After performing a salute, he respectfully said, "Apprentice, greetings to master. You rats worship under me, so today I will pass on your supreme technique." Upon hearing this, Sun Wukong rejoiced. "Many thanks, master." Ancestor Bodhi nodded, his face full of gratification. "Today, the master will teach you." Not waiting for Ancestor Bodhi to finish his sentence, Sun Wukong waved his big hand and directly interrupted. "Master, wait a minute. Since it is a supreme technique, how can it be missing my good big brother? Wait for me to call my big brother over here, and cultivate together." Ancestor Bodhi jolted and his face immediately darkened. This is so solid. The first thing that comes to mind when something good happens to this monkey is that damn guy. Just now he thought that the monkey had changed his mind about him, but it turned out that he had gotten ahead of himself. That's just it. Just promise this monkey. If it was rejected out of hand, the monkey might just leave in anger. Ancestor Bodhi looked helpless, incomparably stifled. "For the sake of my disciple, my master will promise you, but the next one will not be an exception." Chapter 7, The 36 Changes of the Big Dipper. "Thank you, master." After Sun Wukong paid his respects, he left full of joy. In a secluded side hall. "Big brother, today the master said that he would teach my old grandson supreme kung fu, so big brother can learn it together," Sun Wukong said with an excited face. Lu Chongqing frowned slightly and fell into deep thought. According to the original trajectory, after Sun Wukong worshipped his master, when Grandmaster Bodhi imparted Sun Wukong's divine powers, he gave the other party two choices. One is the 36 changes of the Big Dipper and the other is the 72 changes of the Earthly Fury. Under the misguidance of Grandmaster Bodhi, that monkey gave up the 36 changes of the Big Dipper and instead practiced the 72 changes of the Earthly Fury. It was because of this one wrong choice of Sun Wukong that led to his later mediocre strength and always being held by the Buddhist sect. One must know that the 36 changes of the Big Dipper was a great divine ability that involved the supreme laws of the Supreme Flood, and the earthly 72 transformations were only minor divine abilities. Speaking of just some of the skins amongst the great divine abilities, like the 36 changes of the Big Dipper in the good offices of the creation. Moving stars in buckets, back to the sky and back to the sun, call the wind and rain, vibrate the mountains and shake the ground, and soar in the clouds and fog. All of these were supreme spells that shook the three realms. and the 72 changes of the earthly fate were too refuted and mediocre. Compared to that, there is absolutely no need to practice. Thinking of this, Lu Changsheng reminded, older brother, that old Taoist monk may not genuinely want to teach you. Later on, if that old Taoist monk lets you pick out divine spells, don't let him lead you by the nose. Upon hearing this, Sun Wukong couldn't help but stare, his face full of doubt. Big brother, what am I going to do then? It's simple. If he asks you to choose a divine spell, just choose the 36 changes of the Big Dipper directly. Lu Changsheng laughed. Yes. Sun Wukong didn't hesitate and said, I'll listen to Big Brother in everything. With that, the two left the side hall. Square-inch mountain. 3-star cave. Ancestor Bodhi looked at Lu Changsheng with a face full of displeasure and didn't say anything more. After a few moments he said, Wukong, my master will pass on your Supreme Gong method today, which is the topmost divine spell in the 3 realms. One is the 36 changes of the Big Dipper, and the other is the 72 changes of the Earthly Fury. And the 72 changes of the Earthly Fate naturally possess twice as many divine spells, and after you have cultivated them, you will be able to traverse the 3 realms, Ancestor Bodhi said with a smile on his face and a cloud of lightness. But Sun Wukong didn't hesitate and said, Master, I choose the 36 changes of the Big Dipper. When these words came out, Ancestor Bodhi directly froze. Wukong, this is a matter of your future cultivation. I think you should consider it carefully. Ancestor Bodhi was extremely speechless. Sun Wukong scratched his head. Now even he could see the problem. Big brother is right. This old Taoist does have a ghost in his heart. Sun Wukong couldn't help but firm up and said, Master, I, Lao Sun, am about to cultivate the 36 changes of the Big Dipper, and I ask for Master's fulfillment. Lu Changsheng, who was standing at the side, revealed a meaningful smile at this moment. At that exact moment, the system's voice rang in his head. Ding! Congratulations to the host for crushing Ancestor Bodhi's plot to weaken the Monkey King's strength, and obtaining the reward for breaking through to the middle stage of refining Qi and transforming into God. With that, Lu Changsheng sensed and realized that his strength had risen quite a bit more, and couldn't help but exude a heartfelt smile. It seemed that this Bodhi ancestor was really a blessing for him. This time, even if he was killed, he wouldn't leave Fangchun Mountain. In these few short days, because of Ancestor Bodhi, Lu Changsheng received many rewards from the system. The great and good man of Bodhi. If he didn't eat up the Bodhi ancestor, Lu Changsheng would never rest. Ancestor Bodhi had a look of regret on his face. This was completely lifting a stone to hit his own foot. If I had known this, I would have directly given the Monkey King the Earth's 72 changes. You can learn it if you like, or you can forget it. Now it's good. He has some writing tiger difficult. In addition to teaching Sun Wukong Tian Gang 36 changes also have no other way. After a moment, Ancestor Bodhi said with a depressed face, Alright, the master will teach you the 36 changes of the Big Dipper. Lu Changsheng stood there motionless, also listening to Ancestor Bodhi's teachings with a concentrated face. To his surprise, the mythical Tao Lord Dharma Tao collection in his sea of consciousness was functioning automatically. After being sublimated through transformation, the Heavenly Dipper 36 changes divine ability had been transformed into an extremely terrifying conceptual divine ability. A surprised smile appeared on Lu Changsheng's face. Originally he thought that this mythical Dala Dharma Tao collection was just a passive increase in his own strength, but now it seemed that this Gongfu was more powerful than he had imagined. It was actually able to transform the 36 changes of the Big Dipper into an extremely powerful divine ability. This mythical Tao Lord Dharma Tao collection was worthy of being a powerful technique in the middle of the supreme mythical world. If the 36 changes of the Big Dipper only involved a little bit of the power of the flood laws, then the revamped 36 changes of the Big Dipper had already involved the Great Tao. As long as this divine ability was integrated, one could easily and effortlessly achieve the Great Tao. Of course, now that Lu Changsheng already had the mythical Tao Lord Dharma Tao collection, this new divine ability was just a means to an end for him. A few hours later, Ancestor Bodhi had finished imparting the 36 changes of the Big Dipper. He glanced at Sun Wukong, who had already fallen into a state of epiphany, clearly having gained some understanding of the Heavenly Dipper 36 changes. Instead, it was Lu Changsheng who stood there without a single movement. Seeing this scene, a contemptuous smile appeared on Ancestor Bodhi's face. It's just an acquired willow tree spirit. It's normal that you can't learn such a profound divine ability. Suddenly Sun Wukong opened his eyes and woke up from his state of epiphany. At this moment, Sun Wukong clenched his fists. His face was filled with a smile, and he felt himself filled with power. Then Sun Wukong looked at Lu Changsheng and said with a serious face, Thanks to Big Brother, I, Lao Sun, have finally been initiated. Ancestor Bodhi stood by the side, his face full of black lines, and said in a bad mood, You guys hurry up and go back to your cultivation. In the future I'm going to inspect your cultivation progress. Sun Wukong heavily patted his chest and said with a face full of excitement, "Please rest assured, Master, Old Sun, will soon master this divine ability." Lu Changshan was also full of smiles and a wave of disbelief. A year later, the Monkey King lived up to his name and finally reached the realm of Earth Immortal. However, this had little to do with ancestor Bodhi, who had originally been birthed from the seven-colored divine stone. That piece of seven-colored god stone to the period of witch and demon quantitative hijacking. In the flower and fruit mountain constantly breeding metamorphosis. During this period do not know how much heaven and earth essence absorbed. This breakthrough of Sun Wukong's, a powerful sound as well as monstrous visions filled the entire square-inch mountain. The countless disciples in the middle of Feng Cun Mountain were all looking at Sun Wukong with envy. And there were also some disciples who looked at Lu Changsheng with extreme contempt. This guy is completely bumbling and has mediocre talent. And he still has the nerve to mingle in our Feng Cun Mountain. It's really ridiculous to the extreme. Speaking of that willow tree spirit or monkey's big brother, now the little brother has reached the realm of the Earth Immortal. The big brother is still in the same place. He really isn't ashamed of himself. If it were me, I would have lost my face to stay here long ago. The disciples on Square Inch Mountain whispered. Chapter 8, Scum of the Buddhist Sect. Sinners betraying the Interceptor Sect. Since Sun Wukong broke through to the realm of the Earth Immortal, not only did many of his fellow disciples befriend him, but even ancestor Bodhi gave him a high regard. On the contrary, Lu Changsheng was completely out of doors and not treated well by the disciples on Mount Fangchun. A few months later, a trace of a smile surfaced on the face of Lu Changsheng, who was cultivating the mythical Tao Lord Dharma Tao collection. He had finally cultivated to the late stage of refining Qi and transforming God realm. Although such a cultivation speed was already not slow, there was still a long way to go. Sun Wukong had already reached the realm of the Earth Immortal, and he, who was the elder brother, also wanted to become an immortal with the mythical Daolu Fa Daozang at an early date. Thinking of this, Lu Changsheng narrowed his eyes slightly and continued to cultivate. A few days later, on Fangchun Mountain, ancestor Bodhi looked at Sun Wukong and Lu Changsheng and said, "It's been more than a year since I taught you the 36 changes of the Big Dipper. So today I'm going to examine the progress of your cultivation. Goku, you go first. Master, watch this." Sun Wukong leapt to his feet and said. After saying this, he directly rose up into the air and flew up into the 9 heavens. With a single somersault cloud, Sun Wukong arrived at the top of Mount Fangsuan, and his spell of prancing around in the clouds was on display. With that, he cocked his head, then pointed to a patch of grass not far away. Change. In the next moment, a light of creation appeared. A golden light shone brightly. Tao rhythms filled the air, and in an instant, a strange flower petal transformed out. Sun Wukong was extremely excited and was about to demonstrate the Heavenly Dipper 36 changes spell, when ancestor Bodhi directly waved his hand to stop it, and he said with a face full of appreciation, "Not bad, not bad. Master believes that you have mastered the 36 changes of the Big Dipper." After saying this, ancestor Bodhi looked at Lu Changsheng with a smile on his face and said, "Wukong has already demonstrated. As his big brother, you should also show your hand." Lu Changsheng didn't bother to listen to this old Taoist priest's nonsense, and with a slight movement of his mind, he directly operated the Heavenly Dipper 36 changes after the transformation and sublimation. In the next moment, an arcane Tao sound rose above the void, as if the Heavenly Tao was chanting, and in an instant, it filled the entire square-inch mountain. Lu Changsheng's entire body's aura drifted up, solemn and sacred, and the great Tao was simple. After a small trial and error, Lu Changsheng directly withdrew the avatar full of sky, and the strange visions disappeared in an instant. Ancestor Bodhi's pupils shrunk violently, his heart was shocked, and he looked at Lu Changsheng as if he had seen a ghost. No way. How is this possible? Ancestor Bodhi had just felt a palpitating sensation of facing the great Tao directly. What kind of demon is this Lu Changsheng? Sun Wukong glanced at Grandmaster Bodhi, and a small smile spread across his face. This old Taoist usually made an inscrutable appearance. Just now Big Brother just casually displayed it and the old Taoist was shocked like this. It looks like Big Brother is really deep in the closet. This also convinced Sun Wukong that he was worthy of being his big brother. Buzz! A violent fluctuation appeared in the air, and a ray of light tore through the heavens and earth, arriving in an instant over Fangchun Mountain. After a few moments, a figure appeared in the void, looking fat-headed and full of obscene grease. The person who came was none other than the Buddha of definite joy among the Buddhist sects. The Buddha smiled indifferently and transmitted his voice to ancestor Bodhi. How is the situation with this monkey these days? He is the heavenly destined scripture fetcher chosen by thousands in our Buddhist sect. We must not miss our grand plan. After a while, this Buddha drove up a cloud and landed on Fangchun Mountain, glancing around with interest at Lu Changsheng, and then mocked. It's really rare. A Hotian willow tree spirit is actually able to mingle on Fangchun Mountain. Ancestor Bodhi had an embarrassed look on his face. Why did this willow tree spirit give him a sense of panic in the face of the great Tao after he had evolved the Heavenly Dipper 36 Transformations avatar? The Buddha, however, was undaunted and did not hide his contempt for Lu Changsheng at all. Could it be that the feeling of scorn that he, Ancestor Bodhi, had just felt was just an illusion? Looks like there's going to be some careful surveying of this guy in the future. Lu Changsheng laughed coldly in his heart and couldn't help but look at this Buddha. If the other party had to ask him to choose the most loathsome immortal god among the three realms, it would undoubtedly be this definite light joyful Buddha. It was also the long-eared fixed light immortal in the Interceptor sect at one time. I didn't think that this treacherous fellow would still have the face to show his face in the three realms. This is good, since he has to come to give away his head. Then he will fulfill the other party today. How could he pass up an opportunity to screw up when it was delivered to his door? Lu Changsheng's eyes couldn't help but go cold as he said in a deep voice. The Buddhist sect also has the nerve to say that it is the largest sect in the three realms. This standard of recruiting disciples is really not good enough. Even scums like the fixed light joyful Buddha are also accepted. When these words came out, Ancestor Bodhi and the stereotypical joyful Buddha were directly baffled. Sun Wukong looked at Lu Changsheng with a face full of shock. This Buddha looked majestic and unbeatable. But he was actually a scum? Big Brother seems to know a lot of ancient secrets. Sun Wukong, with a melon-eating look, opened his mouth and asked, Big Brother, how do you say this Buddha is a scum? Lu Changsheng smiled bashfully and said, Older brother. In the past, this guy wasn't called the fixed light rejoicing Buddha. During the period of the god-feuding quantum revelation, this guy was the long-eared fixed light immortal in the Interceptor sect. Big Brother, why did he, a jilted man, run away to the Buddhist sect? Sun Wukong asked with a puzzled face. It's nothing. Lu Changsheng was full of contempt and said, During the period of the God-sealing war, the Interceptor Tongtian sage and countless Interceptor disciples set up the 10,000 Immortals formation, wanting to use the six-soul streamer to fight to the death against the sect of man, the Elucidator sect, and the Buddhist sect. At the critical moment there was a scum who stole the six-soul streamers, causing the Interceptor sect to lose. Since then, the Interceptor sect has been destroyed and that scum has transformed into the Buddha of definite joy among the Buddhist sects. Upon hearing this, Sun Wukong's face changed drastically in anger. Gritting his teeth and looking at that Buddha. I didn't realize that there was actually this kind of scum in the three realms. The dog qualified light joyful Buddha is simply the scum of the three worlds. Such people are not qualified to be Buddhas at all. This is also enough to show that it is rotten from the inside out among the Buddhists. After a while, Ancestor Bodhi reacted and looked at Lu Changsheng with an ugly face. It's still catching me off guard. I've been set up by this guy again. He had gone through a lot of trouble to get the monkey to worship Mount Fengtian. And if the monkey loathed the Buddhist sect because of these things, it would really be a loss. Thinking of this, Ancestor Bodhi hurriedly rebuked at Lu Changsheng. How can you be allowed to talk nonsense here about the affairs of the Buddhist sect? Hurry up and apologize and admit your mistake to the fixed light joyful Buddha, or I can't protect you. The fixed light joyful Buddha was red in the face and ears, and he looked at Lu Changsheng with murderous anger. Betrayal of the Interceptors, causing the Interceptor sect to fall apart had been the biggest stain in his life. Now that all the saints were no longer in the three realms, no one in the flood gods dared to mention this matter at all. Even he hadn't expected that he would turn over in the gutter and be humiliated by an unheard of, weak fellow. The fixed light joyful Buddha was infuriated and directly rebuked. Tiny willow tree spirit, who gave you the guts to do this? Pissed me off. Such arrogant people must be sent to reincarnation and never be allowed to transcend life. After saying this, the stereoscopic joyful Buddha slowly poked out his palm, and a cold killing intent filled the air. Chapter 9 Hongming Purple Chi and Huang Zhongli. Sun Wukong's face changed drastically, and he fought to rush up to protect his big brother, Lu Changsheng, but he found that the terrifying pressure came, and he couldn't even move. He clenched his fists in a death grip with a chagrined look on his face. His current strength was too weak. He had thought that he would at least have the strength to protect his big brother after breaking through to the realm of Earth Immortals. However, I did not expect that I would have no power to fight back in the face of the glossy joyful Buddha. Under his anger, Sun Wukong also secretly vowed that if Lu Changsheng was really sent to reincarnation, he would one day break into the hell and save his big brother. Facing the overbearing and incomparable aura of the definitive light joyful Buddha, Lu Changsheng appeared extremely relaxed, and there was even a hint of a smile on his face. As if this terrifying might was useless to him, the fixed light joyful Buddha snorted coldly and said, pretending, simply seeking death. After saying this, his entire body's aura soared, and a terrifying pressure filled the air, directly surging towards Lu Changsheng. Stop! Suddenly a blasting sound rang out, and Duo Bao Rulai descended on Fengtian Mountain. The fixed light joyful Buddha lowered his palms in horror. Damn it! Why would Duo Bao Rulai come to Fangchun Mountain at this time? He was most afraid of that Duo Bao in his life. When he was in the Interceptor sect, he fawned and flattered sect leader Tong Tian, because with the other party's shelter, he could flaunt his power in the Interceptor sect. After going to the Buddhist sect, he even relied on his own great merits. In the Buddhist sect arrogance, even the two saints of the Buddhist sect have to give a few thin face. However, there was a guy from Duo Bao who was a shadowy soul, like a baneful star, causing him to be suppressed in both the Interceptor sect and the Buddhist sect. Duo Bao Rulai coldly glanced at the stereoscopic joyful Buddha. If it wasn't for the two saints of the Buddha sect pressuring him, he would have killed this traitor long ago. Duo Bao Rulai snorted coldly and transmitted his voice to Ting Wan, cheerful Buddha and Bodhi old ancestor. Killing this Lu Changsheng will only enrage the monkeys and make the Sun Wukong hate the Buddha sect even more. And if there's a mistake in the matter of spreading the Buddha Dharma to the east, who's going to bear the responsibility? Although the fixed light joyful Buddha was holding back in his heart, he could only suppress his anger. And then Duo Bao Rulai gazed curiously at Lu Changsheng. How did a Hotian being know these ancient secrets? As for Duo Bao Rulai's gaze, Lu Changsheng didn't bother to pay attention to it, because at that moment, the system's voice had been heard in his head. Ding! Congratulations to the host for angering the light-defining joyful Buddha, and receiving 3 yellow medium plum fruits as a reward. Ding! Congratulations to the host for hitting the face of the qualitative light joyful Buddha and retreating in one piece, earning a blitz reward, a single Hongmeng purple chi. Although Lu Changsheng was calm on the surface, he was already smiling inside. This was the first time he had received a systematic blitz reward. Huang Zhongli. That was one of the 10 great innate spiritual roots. A divine tree in Dragon Moon City on the Kunlun Immortal Island. 10,000 years to blossom, 10,000 years to bear fruit, and 10,000 more years to ripen. The magical effect of the fruit's ability to instantly elevate an immortal to the great Luo Golden Immortal is much stronger than the ginseng fruit and the peach. Of course, it was only at the time of the Golden Immortal Perfection realm that it was most effective. It is not the case that when a mortal eats a fruit, he or she can immediately be certified as a great Luo Golden Immortal. Hongmeng Purple Breath. This was the cornerstone of the path to sainthood, and it was a great opportunity that all the gods of the 3 realms coveted. If a Hongmeng Purple Chi appeared in the 3 realms now, it would certainly be fought over by those immortal gods. During the ancient flood period, Taofather Hongjun preached in the Purple Heavenly Palace. At that time, Taofather Hongjun took Sanqing and Yua as his disciples, and also bestowed upon them the Hongmeng Purple Chi. Later, the 3 pristine ones, Yua and others refined the Hongmeng Purple Chi and eventually proved to be saints, depositing a wisp of their own Yuan Shen above the void of the Heavenly Tao. The Heavenly Tao does not die, and saints do not fall. By fusing the Yuan Shen with the Hongmeng Purple Chi, one could only host the Yuan Shen in the void of the Heavenly Tao after attaining sainthood. In this way, it was difficult to avoid becoming a heavenly puppet. Lu Changxing naturally would not use the Hongmeng Violet Chi to prove the Tao and become a saint. While the Hongmeng Violet Chi had more uses besides proving the Tao, it can be used to enhance strength, transform the foundation, and condense and polish the physical body. Simply put, with the Hongmeng Purple Chi, Lu Changxing's strength would increase much faster. Just now, Duo Bao opened his mouth, and the stereoscopic joyful Buddha could only leave it unsettled. However, his pair of sinister eyes were still staring at Lu Changsheng, and in his mind, he began to plot continuously. Duo Bao Ru came to look at Sun Wukong and Lu Changxing and couldn't help but speak. You guys go away and return to your cultivation in a good way. Lu Changxing nodded and directly led Sun Wukong away. Now that he had just obtained the Huang Zhongli fruit and the Hongmeng Purple Chi, he was trying to go back earlier to refine them, thus enhancing his strength. Along the way, Sun Wukong was a bit sullen and looked preoccupied. Lu Changsheng glanced at Sun Wukong and opened his mouth to ask, "Sage brother, you look like you have something on your mind?" Originally, I thought that I would be able to be considered a powerhouse in the 3 realms after breaking through to the realm of Earth Immortals, but after that definitive light joyful Buddha made his move just now, I realized that I'm a frog in the bottom of a well. Sun Wukong said with a face full of bitterness. Lu Changxing smiled blandly and said, "What the old brother saw was only the tip of the iceberg. There are many strong people in the 3 realms who are more powerful than that scum of the fixed light joyful Buddha. Big brother, just don't worry," Sun Wukong said with a firm face. "In the future, my old grandson will work twice as hard to cultivate so that I will have the strength to protect Big Brother, and scenes like the one just now where Big Brother is being fixed light to rejoice and suppress will definitely not happen again." Lu Changsheng, however, revealed an unconcerned smile and looked at Sun Wukong to comfort him. "Don't think too much, old brother. It was just an accident just now." Sun Wukong returned directly to his cave and began his bitter cultivation. Lu Changsheng also returned to his dojo and took out 3 yellow medium plum fruits from the system space. Next, without hesitation, he swallowed it, and an arcane Tao rhythm filled the air, and visions arose. As the Huang Zhongli fruit was refined, the endless power of the origin surged forth, and Lu Changxing's strength began to rapidly increase. As time passed, the aura on Lu Changxing's body changed radically. He had only refined 3 Huang Zhongli fruits and managed to ascend to the early stage of the refined spirit returning to Void Realm. This was worthy of being the most mysterious existence among the 10 innate spiritual roots. This also meant that Lu Changxing was expected to become an immortal with the mythic Tao Lord method if he advanced one more great realm. Since he had already reached the realm of refining God and returning to Void, Lu Changxing naturally wanted to try out the might of this realm. His mind moved, and his Yuan Shen traveled through the endless thousand worlds. In the endless heavens, spatial fluctuations of inexplicable Tao rhythms continuously intersected in the flooded heavens and earth, and ethereal rivers of space and time appeared in the depths of his consciousness. At this time, Lu Changxing passed through the long river of time and could see the past, present and future of the living beings in the 3 realms without any hindrance. After a moment, Lu Changxing withdrew his consciousness. In the long river of time and space and the sea of consciousness, the visions also disappeared. At this time, even Lu Changxing was a bit jaw-dropped, not expecting the mythical Tao Lord law to be so powerful. Each realm raised would bring about a sea change. Buzz! Willow Changxing shook slightly, and a willow tree phantom with flourishing branches and golden light appeared from the spirit platform and stood in the void. Chapter 10, Stirring Up Trouble. Tai Bai Jinxing is tricked. As his strength increased, that willow tree phantasm thrived even more, and each leaf was beginning to evolve into 1,000 worlds. Lu Changxing felt that he was realizing the true meaning of the laws of the heavens. At this time, he had completely stabilized his realm at the mythic refined God returning to Void Realm. At this realm, Lu Changxing already had the strength to traverse the 3 realms, and could use the power of heaven and earth to step into the long river of space and time, save his Tao body, and live a long life in heaven and earth. Apart from that, the greatest characteristic of the mythic refining God in returning to Void Realm was that his sea of consciousness transformed into an endless void, with innate one chi evolving. It can give birth to the essence of the 5 heavens of heaven, and when one day one steps into the realm of the mythical Tai Golden Immortal, the chi of the 5 heavens of heaven will be condensed in one's body. This was many times stronger than those so-called Tai Golden Immortals with 5 chi in their bodies in the current floodplains. Lu Changxing pondered for a moment and felt that his current strength should be equivalent to the true immortal realm in the flood. However, in terms of true battle power, it should be much stronger than a flood true immortal. Of course, this was just his guess. After all, he had never competed against a true immortal before. These 3 Huang Zhongli fruits directly allowed him to break through a large realm. Lu Changxing was naturally in a good mood, and at the same time, he left the cave. After a few moments, he came to the door of the Monkey King's cave and found that the monkey was still in seclusion, and said that he would never come out of seclusion until he broke through to the heavenly immortal realm. That's just it. It's better to go outside and wander around a bit. Maybe we can even find some opportunities. Thinking so, Lu Changxing flew up to the 9 heavens. In the void, Lu Changxing looked down towards the lower left, where the haze was endless and the purple aura surrounded him. Endless winding and undulating mountain ranges lay across the land with lush forests on top. In the northwest direction of the mountain range there is a cliff with a 1,000-foot wall. A waterfall fell from the sky, and a 7-color rainbow appeared under the sunlight, which was really colorful and pleasing to the eyes. Lu Changxing didn't think much about it and directly dropped down from the clouds, cultivating the revamped Heavenly Dipper 36 changes divine power with interest. The void was like a mirror, constantly rippling with countless ripples and rapidly fragmenting. Above the 9 heavens, Tai Bai Jinxing, who was riding the 7-colored auspicious clouds passing by Fangchun Mountain, was directly dumbfounded. He felt a riot in the heavens and earth as a palpitating sensation appeared, directly enveloping him. In an instant, Tai Bai Jinxing stumbled, falling down at great speed like a falling meteor. Boom! Tai Bai Jinxing fell directly onto the cliff where Lu Changxing was practicing. Lu Changxing also stopped his cultivation and glanced at the other party. Isn't this the Great White Star? The most diligent and practical clerk under the Jade Emperor. For the sake of the Heavenly Court's heyday, it can be said that they have bowed down to the best of their abilities. A tragic figure to say the least. Tai Bai Jinxing slowly got up and looked at Lu Changxing with a face full of surprise. No way. How is this possible? Just a little bit of pressure emanating from his cultivation could cause him, a strong member of the Heavenly Court, to fall down from the 9 heavens without any resistance. So the question is, how scary is the big guy in front of you? Could it be a reclusive powerhouse from the ancient flood period? Greetings, Supreme Immortal. Tai Bai Jinxing made a bow and carefully said, May I ask how the Supreme Immortal is addressed? What are your orders? When Lu Changxing saw this, a small smile spread across his face. This unsolicited opportunity was definitely not to be missed. So, with a bashful, inscrutable face, he said, It doesn't matter what this seat is. I just feel sorry for it. When the heavenly court cooperates with the Buddhist sect, and in the end the Dharma spreads eastward, what benefit can the heavenly court gain, other than the fulfillment of the Buddhist sect? Taibai Jinxing couldn't help but feel a shock in his heart as he looked at Lu Changxing in disbelief. How could this reclusive powerhouse know the secrets of the heavenly court and the Buddhist sect? Taibai Jinxing said with a grave expression, "The Buddhist sect's plan to travel to the west is something that the Jade Emperor has ordained, and I think that it will be of great benefit to the heavenly court. Otherwise the Jade Emperor wouldn't have agreed to help the Buddhist sect. Greatly beneficial to heaven?" Lu Changxing shook his head and said, "The most crucial scripture takers and protectors in the Journey to the West program are all from the Buddhist sect, and I'm sure you know the consistent style of the Buddhist sect, so may I ask what advantage your heavenly court can take?" Upon hearing this, Taibai Jinxing's pupils shrunk violently as he looked at Lu Changxing with a face full of shock. That's not possible. This mysterious strongman, not only did he know about the Buddhist sect's westward journey program, why was he so clear about such detailed matters as the staffing of the Buddhist sect's westward journey? But this mysterious powerhouse wasn't wrong. What the heavenly court did was indeed laborious and unpleasant. As the eight-faced Taibai Jinxing in the heavenly court, how sharp was his mind, and after a slight nudge from Lu Changxing, he realized what was at stake. Taibai Jinxing made a bow, his face full of bitterness. "Thank you for your enlightenment. May I ask the immortal, what do we have to do in the heavenly court in order to crack the Buddhist sect's calculations? If the Supreme Immortal has a plan to deal with this, we in the Celestial Court will certainly be grateful." Lu Changxing smiled mysteriously, then probed his finger to make a point in the void. Buzz! A long river of spacetime was like a star falling from the 9 heavens. Lu Changxing transformed into a stream of light and disappeared into the long river of space and time, vanishing in a moment. Seeing Lu Changxing disappear, Taibai Jinxing was dumbstruck and stood in place as if struck by lightning. To be able to evolve space and time with the snap of a finger and easily travel through the 9 heavens and 10 lands, such a means was simply unheard of. I'm afraid even those heavenly saints can't do it, right? What exactly is that mysterious strongman? Could it be the Yang Mei Disien who once fought with Tao ancestor Hongjun during the ancient flood? It is said that the Yang Mei Immortal controlled the law of space and time avenue, and later disappeared far away from the domain of chaos. By now, Immortal Yang Mei might have already attained the level of the great Luo Golden Immortal of mixed compassion, right? Taibai Jinxing pondered for a moment and returned to the heavenly court with a heavy heart. On top of a mountain peak thousands of miles away from Fangchen Mountain, Lu Changxing's figure quietly appeared. At the same time, the system's voice rang in his head. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully provoking the relationship between the heavenly court and the Buddhist sect in front of Taibai Jinxing, and obtaining the reward of having his strength increased to the middle stage of refining spirit and returning to the void realm. Refining God to return to the void? A hint of joy appeared on Lu Changxing's face, now that he had planted the seeds of doubt in Taibai Jinxing's mind. With Taibai Jinxing's relationship with the Jade Emperor, the entire heavenly court would sooner or later be wary and suspicious of the Buddhist sect, and then Lu Changxing would be able to go to the heavenly court to cause trouble again. After a few moments, Lu Changxing directly left and continued to travel outside. At the same time, on a mountain peak not far away from Fangchen Mountain, the figure of the glossy joyful Buddha emerged, a hideous smile spreading from the corners of his mouth. Just now, he had deduced that Lu Changxing had left Fangchen Mountain, and now was the perfect opportunity for him to strike in secret. After a few moments, a hideous-looking figure with a demonic aura surrounding its entire body arrived in front of the stereoscopic Joyful Buddha. "Greetings, Master Joyful Buddha." The fixed-light Joyful Buddha nodded and said, "Tiger Vanguard, help me kill that willow tree spirit, and this seat will guide you into the Buddhist sect, away from the murderous robberies of the 3 realms." Chapter 11, Another Breakthrough, Refining the Void and Harmonizing the Tao. "Thank you, Master Joyful Buddha." When Tiger Vanguard heard this, he immediately rejoiced. With that, Tiger Vanguard directly left in a murderous rage. At this time, Lu Changxing was still wandering around Fangchen Mountain, swimming and forgetting to return. The only shortcoming was that his good brother Sun Wukong was not there. Suddenly he couldn't help but frown. Sensing a demonic aura nearby, Lu Changxing did not move and looked towards the sky, only to see a figure whose entire body was permeated with demonic aura, rapidly coming this way. Lu Changxing narrowed his eyes slightly. This demon had the strength of the true immortal realm, and his entire body was filled with light. I'm afraid it's the remaining remnants of the demon race from the ancient witch demon war. Nowadays, the masters of heaven and earth and the floodplain are the human race, and the remnants of the demon race are not tolerated by heaven and earth. If he kills this demon, he is able to gain a certain amount of merit. However, it is just a small merit. He, Lu Changxing, does not see it at all. Right now, he was in the middle stage of refining spirit and returning to void. His strength was equivalent to the true immortal realm in the flood, and this demon happened to be in the true immortal realm. It's good that you can test your strength. In the void in the distance, Tingguang, cheerful and vicious, looked at Lu Changsheng. Now that Willow Tree Spirit is not moving. A frozen look. I think it must have been scared silly long ago. The Willow Tree Spirit doesn't even have the strength of an Earth Immortal. And this time the Tiger Vanguard will be able to kill that Lu Changsheng. Boom! A piercing light tore through the sky and land, descending in front of Lu Changsheng in an instant. Tiger Vanguard glanced at Lu Changsheng and said with contempt, "A mole that hasn't even reached the Earth Immortal realm? Griffin?" Lu Changsheng looked at the other party with a face full of contempt and laughed. He, when did you tiger demons become so rampant? Seek death. The Tiger Vanguard roared angrily and then struck out without hesitation. A black flame surged out and directly covered towards Lu Changsheng, instantly drowning him. When Tiger Vanguard saw Lu Changsheng disappear, he burst into a cold laugh and said, "This karmic fire of mine can burn the Yuanshen. As far as the golden immortal Yuanshen is concerned, you are not even an Earth Immortal. How can you possibly block it?" In the center of the black sea of fire, there was a vacuum. The surrounding black flames were furious, but they could not burn Zhang Yang in the slightest. Lu Changsheng let out a cold smile and immediately operated the Heavenly Dipper 36 Changes divine ability. Return to the wind and return to the fire. For a moment, the flames burned even more furiously. The flames carried the power of extinction, surging toward the Tiger Vanguard, returning all the black flames that the Tiger Vanguard had evolved. The Tiger Vanguard screamed miserably and was directly engulfed by the black flames, turning into ashes in an instant. In the distance, the light-defining immortal joyful Buddha stumbled and almost didn't fall down from the clouds. At this time, he had completely frozen. That Tiger Vanguard was a true immortal realm powerhouse. It was reasonable to be able to easily subdue the Willow Tree Spirit that wasn't even an Earth Immortal. The Willow Spirit is actually this powerful? Moreover, what the other party had used just now was actually the Heavenly Dipper 36 Changes divine ability? The identity of that Willow Tree Spirit was definitely not as simple as a disciple of Mount Fengtian. The fixed light joyful Buddha was incomparably scandalized and froze directly in place. It took a while for him to react and look in the direction of Lu Changsheng, and after probing a bit, the definitive light cheerful Buddha almost dropped his jaw in shock. No way. That Willow Tree Spirit also looked this way. Did the other party discover me? No way. This is absolutely impossible. He was a great Luo Golden Immortal. It was absolutely impossible for that Willow Tree Spirit to sense its presence. It was only after a while that the Tingguang cheerful Buddha calmed down, and he looked towards the distance again, only to see that Lu Changsheng had already disappeared. The fixed light joyful Buddha cursed twice before turning to leave. Lu Changsheng burst into a cold laugh. "Could you fixed light joy Buddha? This account he wrote down later will make the Buddhist sect 1,000 times to pay back." For the next few days, Lu Changsheng didn't rush back to Fanchu Mountain and continued to travel outside. Lu Changsheng arrived at a cavernous blessed place called Jiuyang Mountain. Suddenly, Lu Changsheng's eyes lit up and he immediately stopped his footsteps. There was actually a 10,000-year-old spirit medicine in front of him. The Yuan Ling Dao fruit. The Yuan Ling Dao fruit was a lower-grade innate spiritual root, and after refining it, it was equivalent to hundreds of thousands of years of hard cultivation. Lu Changsheng was filled with surprise. Now it is already the period of the journey to the west, and the countless heavenly treasures in the floodplains have long been divided up by all the many great men. Even a Hotian spiritual root was extremely scarce during the western journey period, let alone an innate spiritual root that was rare for tens of thousands of years. Looks like he's got some good luck. With this spirit root, this trip out would be worthwhile. After lamenting for a while, Lu Changsheng did not hesitate to pocket the Yuan Ling Dao fruit. The next also returned to Fanchu Mountain, Square Inch Mountain. In the cave, Lu Changsheng sat down on his knees and directly took out the Yuan Ling Dao fruit and refined it. Boom! A violent origin power, as if a volcano had erupted, surged out within his body and rushed into his organs. Lu Changsheng frowned slightly, feeling the surging origin power throughout his body. This is worthy of being an innate spiritual root. The energy contained in it was horrible. Lu Changsheng didn't hesitate and directly operated the mythical Dao Lord Dharma Dao Zan suppression to condense those raging origin forces. As time passed, half a day later, he managed to break through to the late stage of the refined spirit returning to the void realm. The billions of stars in the Dantian were constantly evolving and rotating, emitting infinite Dao rhythms, as if they were evolving the supreme Dao origin, and the cosmic stars and rivers in the Dantian Violet Mansion became even more colorful. A knowing smile appeared on Lu Changsheng's face. That's right, last time, he had also obtained a strand of Hongmeng purple chi from the system, and he didn't know to what extent his strength would increase after refining it. Lu Changsheng's consciousness couldn't help but move, and the strand of Hongmeng violet chi appeared in his palm. The Hongmeng purple chi surged and became metaphysical. Even before it was refined, Lu Changsheng had a sense of divine enlightenment that was hard to describe. The Hongmeng purple chi is worthy of being the root of becoming a saint. It's really powerful, Lu Changsheng muttered. With that, he began to refine the Hongmeng violet chi. Buzz. As Lu Changsheng refined the Hongmeng violet chi, he had a moment of clarity and a sense of enlightenment. Lu Changsheng's entire body was filled with the laws of the great Tao, appearing indistinct and sacred. It was as if he had become one with this heaven and earth, and his hands and feet contained endless true meanings of the great Tao. Early stage of refining void harmonization. Unsurprisingly, Lu Changsheng had elevated himself to the early stage of refined void harmonization this time. Refinement and harmonization. It is the self-achievement of the great Tao that allows one to transcend beyond the 5 elements of heaven and earth and travel to the heavens at will through time and space. The flesh is immortal. The soul is immortal. Jumping out of the 5 elements and 3 worlds. Eternal existence. Being able to do one sand in one world. Giving birth to an infinite 1,000 worlds. And even giving birth to a great epic. The greatest characteristic of refining the void and harmonizing the Tao was to condense the 3,000 law Tao seeds within the body. When Lu Changsheng certified to the mythical Great Luo Golden Immortal in the future, he would be able to unite the 3,000 laws and condense the supreme Tao fruit, through which he could transcend everything. Refinement of essence. Refinement of chi and transformation of God. Refining God to return to the void. Refinement and harmonization. These 4 realms are, to put it mildly, laying a solid foundation for the future. Chapter 12 Traveling to the Spirit Mountain Buddhist Sect. Monkey goes down the mountain. But even so, now that Lu Changsheng was able to reach the realm of mythical refined void harmonization, it was already very terrifying. At this time, Lu Changsheng also reckoned, with his current realm of the early stage of the mythical refined void harmonization, it was equivalent to the Xianxian immortals in the flood. However, he possessed many magical treasures, as well as incomparably powerful techniques. And it was not a problem at all for him to try to kill 1 or 2 immortal gods at the golden immortal realm. Such a breakthrough speed as well as heaven-defying battle power was absolutely wonderful and stunning. One must know that he, Lu Changsheng, had only been cultivating for a short period of more than 10 years from the time he had just succeeded in transforming into a human form until now. With such a breakthrough speed, not even the Monkey King could catch up, because according to the original trajectory of the years, until the end of the journey to the west, the Monkey King would only be in the golden immortal realm at most, and he, Lu Changsheng, now had the strength to kill a golden immortal powerhouse. If Sun Wukong could be called a heaven's remarkable demon, then he, Lu Changsheng, had no doubt that he was a demonic existence that was hard to find in the ages. At this moment, Lu Changsheng was spirited. A smile spread on his face. It was time to get out of the customs, or to look for an opportunity to make things happen. There is naturally no future in waiting for others to come forward in this way. With this thought, Lu Changsheng left the cave. Before he even stepped out of the square-inch mountain, Lu Changsheng stopped. Boom! Dark clouds converged over Mount Fangsuan. Thunder and lightning flashed, and a deafening roar erupted. In the next moment, the endless purple thunderbolts went directly in the direction of the Monkey King's cave. After a few moments, the sky full of thunder and lightning visions then disappeared. A figure pierced through the endless void and arrived above the 9 heavens, raising the sky and laughing. Ha ha! It's not in vain that I've been in seclusion for so long. I've finally broken through to the true immortal realm. With that, Sun Wukong glanced over and realized that Lu Changsheng was on Fangchun Mountain. He couldn't help but smile. His figure flew directly down from the clouds and came in front of Lu Changsheng, with a smile on his face. Big brother, I, Lao Sun, finally made a breakthrough. From now on, I, Lao Sun, will be the one to protect you. Congratulations, sage. Watching Sun Wukong break through, Lu Changsheng was also happy. In the next moment, a ripple appeared in the void and a stream of light appeared. The figure of Ancestor Bodhi appeared before them silently. Great! Ancestor Bodhi Xiaozhe nodded and said, worthy of being a spirit monkey that took over the creation of heaven and earth. It really lives up to its name, breaking through to the true immortal realm in just a short period of time. From now on, you can get off the mountain. As for Lu Changsheng, Master has other arrangements. Sun Wukong couldn't help but stare, then asked, what are you going to do to my big brother? As soon as these words came out, the corners of Ancestor Bodhi's mouth twitched, and a trace of imperceptible anger appeared on his face. This monkey doesn't know how to be grateful to the Buddha sect even if it's not enough, but he also defends his big brother like this, and this time, he wants to separate Lu Changsheng from Sun Wukong. Otherwise the Buddhist sect is bound to suffer greatly. Lu Changsheng glanced absently at Ancestor Bodhi. He had long guessed the Buddhist sect's calculations. It was nothing more than separating him from the Monkey King and most likely imprisoning him. In that case the Buddhist sect could take hold of the Monkey King. Lu Changsheng shook his head and said with a mocking face, is this the way you Buddhists have always acted? I've finally seen it today. Right at this moment, Duo Bao Rulai descended on Fong Cun Mountain. He glanced at the monkey and said, "Why did you monkey say such a thing? We didn't mean to victimize your big brother. My Buddha is merciful. This time we just want to let Lu Changsheng go to the Buddhist sect to purify himself and help him attain immortality." A mocking smile spread across the corners of Lu Changsheng's mouth as he listened. This doppelganger Rudra actually uttered such crowning words. How could he not see that the Buddhist sect wanted to make him a bargaining chip to hold the monkey? "Don't you dare turn black and white upside down here." Sun Wukong snorted coldly. "Do you think I, Lao Sun, would believe such nonsense?" Duo Bao Rulai narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "You also don't want to think for a moment. If your elder brother can't become immortal, it's always a mortal body. Being immortal will eventually have the day of old age, sickness and death. Are you going to watch your big brother's lifespan run out and eventually run out of gas?" Hearing this, the Monkey King fell into hesitation. Seeing this, Duo Bao Rulai's eyes flickered as he said, "It's better this way. Why don't you let your big brother make his own decision?" The gazes of the crowd then couldn't help but converge on Lu Changsheng. Only Lu Changsheng smiled bashfully and said, "Anyway, I'm tired of staying in Fanchu Mountain, and I've heard that the Spirit Mountain has a great deal of chi, opportunities all over the place, and many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are generous and merciful. This time Venerable Duo Bao Rulai has kindly invited me. How could I refuse?" When these words came out, Duo Bao Rulai and Ancestor Bodhi looked at each other and smiled, all breathing a sigh of relief. Even though Lu Changsheng was pointing out the wrong things and making them uncomfortable in their hearts, the other party was quite sensible and eventually obediently gave in. Otherwise they might have to plot some more in secret and use some tricks. It seemed that Lu Changsheng was not an arrogant and reckless person. Knowing that the Buddha's knife and chopping board, he was fish and meat, and any resistance was meaningless. Lu Changsheng was calm on the surface, but in his heart, a cold smile ran through his mind. That's just ridiculous. Now Duo Bao Rulai and Ancestor Bodhi thought they had him, not realizing that he had long since transcended beyond the three realms and could travel through time and space at will to the heavens and the worlds, not to mention the Buddhist sect. Even if he, Lu Changsheng, was imprisoned in the Purple Heavenly Palace, he would still be able to come and go as he pleased. In a word, there was no power in the three realms that could imprison him. In this case, why not go to the Buddhist sect? It was the lair of a Buddhist bigwig, which meant that he, Lu Changsheng, had more possibilities to mess things up. How could Lu Changsheng miss such a great opportunity at his fingertips? Sun Wukong looked puzzled and rubbed his head, looking at Lu Changsheng with a puzzled expression. This is obviously a trap for the Buddhist sect. When that fixed light joyful Buddha came to Fangchun Mountain, he was extremely arrogant to lay his hands on his big brother and kill him. You should know that the dojo of that fixed light joyful Buddha is in the middle of the Spirit Mountain. Now that big brother is traveling to the Spirit Mountain, wouldn't that be throwing himself into the net? Why did big brother agree to it? Did it mean that big brother was thinking about him? Sun Wukong said with an anxious look on his face. "Big brother, could it be that you have something difficult to tell me? Tell me directly." "Old son." Ancestor Bodhi coughed dryly and said to Sun Wukong, "Wukong, don't be delusional. Everything the Buddhist sect is doing is helping your big brother. May he become immortal soon. Master here can promise you that in the future, when you ascend to the Xian immortal realm, you will be able to travel to Spirit Mountain to visit your elder brother with your encounter." Sun Wukong was still a bit reluctant, but he could only leave Mount Fangsuan, outside the square-inch mountain. Sun Wukong clenched his fists and said with a firm face, "I can see that my old grandson must have a big brother who has a hard time, which is why he went to the Buddha's gate and waited for it, and I, my old grandson, will one day fight on the Spirit Mountain to free my big brother." After saying this, Sun Wukong directly set up his somersault clouds and left Fangsuan Mountain, heading towards the Mountain of Flowers and Fruits. Chapter 13, The Seven Great Demon Kings Gather. Square-inch Mountain. Duo Bao Rulai narrowed his eyes slightly and said, "Let's go." Directly to the Western Spirit Mountain. Ryu Nagisa nodded. Spirit Mountain was in the southwest, a cave of blessedness with abundant spiritual chi and beautiful mountains. Duo Bao Rulai said, "This is the golden source cave of the Spirit Mountain. From now on, you will cultivate here." Lu Changsheng glanced at this golden origin cave and said blandly, "It's rare that your Buddhist sect is so kind." Duo Bao Rulai snorted coldly and didn't say anything. After a few moments, the two of them descended outside of the golden origin cave sky, and Lu Changsheng couldn't help but lament. "Duo Bao, after so many years have passed, do you still miss your fellow disciples of the former Interceptor sect?" Duo Bao Rulai couldn't help but freeze, his eyes staring at Lu Changsheng in death. Lu Changsheng smiled and said, "When you think about it, those disciples of the Interceptor sect were still miserable enough, and during that great cataclysm, the huge Interceptor sect fell apart, and countless of the Interceptor sect's disciples died innocently and tragically. Those who are alive will either go to heaven as puppets or convert to Buddhism. As soon as these words came out, Duo Bao Rulai's face changed violently, and he said with a surprised expression, "What are you? How do you know these things?" Lu Changsheng muttered, "I'm sure that once upon a time the disciples of the Interceptor sect all immensely missed their eldest senior brother." Duo Bao Rulai fell into silence. His heart had set off shocking waves that could not be calmed for a long time. When he was first ordered by Laozi to become the head of the Buddhist sect, his intention was to take care of the disciples of the Interceptor sect who had been dispatched to the Buddhist sect. After the God-Sealing War, the dust of the chaos in the three realms settled, and the Interceptor sect had long since been destroyed, with no possibility of rebuilding. This was exactly his original intention of joining the Buddhist sect, except that what Lu Changsheng said wasn't wrong, and he, Duo Bao, was now becoming more and more engrossed in the identity of Rulai and unable to extricate himself. Now who the hell is he? If Lord Tongtian came out in the future, what face would he, Duo Bao, have to meet him? Right at this moment, the system's voice rang out in Lu Changsheng's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully provoking the relationship between Duo Bao and the Buddhist sect, obtaining an immortal elixir and a dragon blood creation pool reward. Dragon blood creation pool. It was made from the chaotic heavenly dragon's essence blood, which could help dragon race beings to transform. Lu Changsheng couldn't help but have a smile on his face. Not bad. He was trying to deliberately provoke the relationship between Duo Bao and the Buddhist sect. Speaking of which, Duo Bao is actually not bad. When he joined the Buddhist sect was also forced by the situation. He could not help it. Like the Ma Yuanzuan Wangfua who took the initiative to betray the Interceptor sect and join the Buddhist sect, the definitive light joyful Buddha and others were different. These guys are the ones with the worst of all worlds. In the future, Lu Changsheng would also slowly go about stopping the Buddhist sect's plan to spread Buddhism to the east. After all, he didn't want to see his sworn brother, Sun Wukong, end up turning into an angular Dushang Buddha and becoming a traitor to the Buddhist sect. More importantly, his purpose of coming to Spirit Mountain was to keep messing things up so that he could obtain system rewards. Only in this way would he be able to continuously improve himself and achieve the supreme mythical Daolord fruit. Duo Bao Rulai froze there for a long time before reacting. Then with a wave of his large hand, countless visions evolved throughout the Golden Origin Cave heaven. A terrifying earth, wind, water, fire, and other destructive elements rolled up above the earth, forming a terrifying forbidden net that covered the entire Golden Origin Cave sky in an instant. After setting up the prohibition, Duo Bao Rulai was finally relieved. The words Lu Changsheng had just said had shaken his Dao a little. This willow tree spirit is too horrible. The heart is extremely deep, mouth like a reed. Actually even his many secrets of Duo Bao Rulai said one by one. If he stays here much longer, I'm afraid he'll betray the Buddhists. So he was very jealous of Lu Changsheng and hurriedly left the place. As Lu Changsheng watched Duo Bao Rulai leave, his mind moved and he immediately condensed a mythical Dao body. That mythical Dao body was exactly the same as Lu Changsheng regardless of its aura or appearance. After doing so, he took a step out and silently arrived above the 9 heavens, just as easily and effortlessly crossing the prohibition. Lu Changsheng had already crossed the long river of space and time, turning the world upside down, and was able to come and go as he pleased. Even if it was a prohibition set up by a paramount saint, it wouldn't be able to trap him. Mount Huagua, Waterfall Cave. Since his return, Sun Wukong seemed to have changed as if he was a different person, always having an obsession in his heart. The elder brother preferred to sacrifice himself for his future and freedom, and was confined to the Buddhist sect. What reason did he, Sun Wukong, have to indulge in hedonistic pleasures? He must cultivate hard and improve his strength at all costs. One day, he would inevitably set foot on the Spirit Mountain and save his big brother back from that group of Buddhas. And just like that, time passes. On this day, one of the monkeys from the Mountain of Flowers and Fruits came to the Water Curtain Cave in a jumping and incomparable panic. When he saw Sun Wukong, he immediately cried out loudly, "Great King! Something big is wrong. There are several powerful demon kings coming from outside. They rushed up to the Mountain of Flowers and Fruits and injured many of our clansmen." After hearing this, Sun Wukong directly rose up in the air and said angrily, "Someone actually came to our Huagua mountain to haunt the market, simply looking for death. What kind of bull ***** demon king? All go to hell." A group of monkeys jumped up, chattering and holding swords, guns and sticks, following behind Lu Changsheng. Sun Wukong directly rode up his somersault cloud and didn't bother to talk nonsense, directly picking up his fist and smashing it into a demon king. Boom! The void directly shattered, and a demon king flew out backwards, ruthlessly planting himself on the ground, looking wretched. The bull demon king, Jiao demon king, lion hunchback king and other demon kings all sucked in a mouthful of cool air and looked at Sun Wukong with a face full of shock. After the sparring session just now, these great demon kings were completely no match for Sun Wukong. A few people discussed the matter and immediately decided to become brothers. The 7 great saints who would shake the 3 realms in the future formally began their alliance at this time. Sun Wukong is the host. Naturally incomparable generosity. And order. A lot of monkeys and monkeys will be Huagua Mountain hidden treasures all out. These several big demon kings drink freely. A burst of pushing cups and exchanging. Bull Demon King eyes flickering said, virtuous brother, this kind of hero. Why condescend to live in the flower and fruit mountain above it? Sun Wukong put down his wine cup and told the story of Lu Chongqing being imprisoned by the Buddhist sect's calculations. I didn't realize that those Buddhas were so insidious. Don't worry, brother. Your business is our business. Not bad. We will definitely help you in the future and help you rescue Big Brother. Count me in as the Demon King. I've long wanted to go to Spirit Mountain to beat up those vultures. Even the Lion Hunchback King, Peng Demon King, Rhesus Monkey King and other demon kings were filled with righteous indignation. East China Sea. Lu Chongqing came to this place, his eyes looking deeply into the vast East Sea. A few days ago, he had deduced the heavenly chances and learned that the Dragon Clan's old ancestor, Candle Dragon, had not yet fallen. It is even deferred to the hidden things of the ancient flood period. At the time of the Dragon Han's initial calamity, the 3 clans of the Dragon, Phoenix, and Qilin were in the middle of the flood, causing a monstrous quantitative calamity. In that battle, the Dragon, Phoenix, and Qilin clans were almost dead or wounded. And although Candlewick was seriously injured, he was lucky not to die, for fear of the rise of the dragon race and another catastrophe in the flood. At that time, Hong Jun, Luo Shuhu, Yang Mei Disian, Yin Yang Taoist and other top flood powerhouses sealed Candle Dragon in the East China Sea. And this time, Lu Chongqing was planning to discuss the alliance with Candle Dragon. Chapter 14, Rescuing Candlewick. A deal. East China Sea abyss. Endless formations intertwined together, forming a terrifying array that spread hundreds of millions of miles, completely shrouding the place, and the surrounding area possessed berserk divine thunder unbridled. Intertwining together, Lu Chongqing smiled blandly and stepped into the seal calmly. Candle Dragon, who was meditating, looked at Lu Chongqing in surprise. That was a formation that was set up by the top powerhouses in the 3 realms during the ancient flood period, and no one in the entire 3 realms could even come in except for the saints. This person looked like he had normal strength, as if he hadn't broken through to the earth immortal realm yet. So why was he able to easily pass through this large formation? Lu Chongqing didn't bother to talk nonsense and said directly, Candle Dragon, today I've come to make a deal with you. I can break the formations here and let you go, but from now on, the dragon race will be allied with me. Candle Dragon narrowed his eyes slightly at Lu Chongqing, also coming to be interested, and said, you want to make an alliance with our dragon clan? Then I should always know what you want our dragon clan to do in the future, right? Lu Chongqing smiled and said, if the time is ripe in the future, and you dragons fight with me in the heavenly court, then the many opportunities in the heavenly court will be enough for you dragons to rise. Candlewick lapsed into silence. It had to be said that the conditions offered by Lu Chongqing interested him. During the ancient flood period, the Dragon Clan reigned supreme, suppressing the 3 realms, and countless powerful forces were subjugated to them. Even the Phoenix Clan and the Kirin Clan were suppressed by the Dragon Clan, and had to join forces in order to get a chance to breathe. At that time, the Dragon Clan was too powerful, and things went wrong and suffered extinction. Now the dragon race has submitted to the heavenly court from its original dominant position in the flood. The heavenly court does whatever it tells them to do, and even the Buddhist sect has the idea of annexing the dragon race. Nowadays, the dragons have a miserable fate and have long been reduced to the point where everyone can be bullied. Candle Dragon saw all these things in his eyes, and wanted to save the Dragon Clan all the time. It's just that he's always been sealed here, and his heart is in the right place. The conditions offered by Lu Chongqing interested him. Just does he have the strength to get himself out? Candle Dragon looked at Lu Chongqing and said seriously, as long as you are able to crack this formation, I will agree to your conditions. Yes. Lu Chongqing nodded and said. With that, he directly slapped out his palm, making use of the upside-down yin-yang of the Heavenly Dipper's 36 transformations aptitude. Boom! Light filled out, and a roaring sound resounded throughout the East Sea. The vast power of yin and yang transformed into a brilliant light that shot out and struck on top of the distant prohibition. That party's functioning formation was directly broken, and Candle Dragon's eyes widened with disbelief. Who the hell is this man? The divine ability that he had used just now had actually caused Candle Dragon to feel the power of the great Tao that made his heart palpitate. That kind of frightening power was even more powerful than the oppression of a saint. Could the other party be a chaos demon god? Then Candlewick shook his head, dumbfounded. No matter what, this person's strength was incomparably powerful and his methods were bizarre, so the Dragon Clan could not make an enemy of him. Perhaps relying on this person's strength, the Dragon Clan would rise sooner or later. Candle Dragon looked grave and said with a respectful expression, "Thank you for saving us. Please rest assured that our Alliance Master will definitely keep his word in the future." Candle Dragon was very grateful to Lu Changsheng. He has been sealed in the East China Sea from the time of the initial calamity of the Dragon Han, and originally thought that he would not be able to get out of the trap in his lifetime, and could only watch the dragon race gradually go into decline. He didn't expect Lu Changsheng to step in and let him regain his free body. Lu Changsheng smiled indifferently and said, "There's no need to thank us. We're allies now and I'll let you help me in the future." Candle Dragon nodded and said, "If you, fellow Daoist, have nothing else to do, you might as well come back to the Dragon Clan with me." "No problem." Lu Changsheng nodded and said, "It just so happens that I also have plans to go to the dragon race. This time, this seat can send your dragon race a creation by the way." Candlewick frowned as he listened. Sending them the Dragon Clan a creation? That's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? In the entire floodplain, even a saint wouldn't dare to say such big words, right? Although his heart was full of doubts, Candle Dragon did not say anything more and led Lu Changsheng towards the East China Sea Dragon Palace. It was filled with purple light and some colorful coral and pearls that were so brilliant that they made the waters of the place shimmer. In the Dragon Palace, the golden light shone brightly, with extremely luxurious and precious buildings. It makes this crystal palace look like a dream.